But when he saw Cooper still hanging out there, he was like, ah, he's still here. Oh, the sand. It's like, I don't think he realizes how much of a threat for the title he really is. Like, for instance, like last year, I said this. He threw away his championship hose. Remix. Cooper's like a remix. You're just like, oh, this tune's all right. And I was like, it flips. And then when it flips, you get this dude on there. And no matter what everybody else is doing, Eli didn't want none of that. What's up, guys? You know who it is, your boy James Stewart. And you know where we at, baby. We at the Rewind Show. Round 6, actually round 5 in real life, but round 6 on the schedule from Tampa, Florida. And if you haven't noticed, you're going to see me twice this week. You're going to see me on the broadcast on NBC, which was awesome. It was live.
And a very special guest, the man second on the all-time Supercross wins list, James Stewart with 50 wins.
I was in Tampa, and I told you your boy would be up there, and I said there was going to be some good racing because your boy was there. And whether it was me or them, it was some good racing. I had an awesome time. I got to thank Lee, Ricky, the whole crew, NBC, Phil, Dave, Doug. There's a lot of people. Daniel Blair, Will, everybody. It was grateful. I'm super grateful to be there. I enjoyed it. I really did. Being live on TV on Super Bowl weekend, I mean, serious? Like, it was good. So big shout out to those guys. But really, as I said on my Instagram, like the real heroes are you guys, the fans. And I know it sounds cliche, and y'all know me. I keep it real. So I don't say anything that like I really don't believe. The reason I'm there is because of you. Now, whether you think that's cheesy or not, that's just the truth. Like Barsha, always a threat for a win and always a threat to go for a front end. That's just facts. Like, it's facts.
Bam Bam, always a threat for a win. And if not, always a threat to go for a front end.
On there, he's won and he's also went for front end. So the fans, you guys are the reason there. You wanted me, they listened, and they gave. So from here, James Stewart, myself, Bubba's World, the Rewind Show, I appreciate it. So, but we here on the Rewind Show. So you know what we got to do. We're going to rewind today and get into it. So let's get in. Round 6 from Tampa, Florida. Let's get into it, baby. So this weekend in Tampa, when you think about Florida, you look at, my track, Chad Reed's RC track, all these guys. And would you think of that clay, that red clay, that good dirt. And then so when you watch Tampa, you look at Tampa, you see this dark dirt. It's slippery, folks. It's slippery. The first year they came, or a few years ago when they came there, it was slippery then, and it was slippery, the other night. And it's unlike any dirt that I've ever seen in Florida. I don't even know where they get that stuff from. I can't even think of a Supercross track that's dark like that. So the riders, they're not that stoked on the dirt. So you always thought Jacksonville had really good dirt. Like, it was like my place. And even Daytona, when they put that clay in there, they have that kind of dirt. And it's dark like Daytona, but it's not. It's super hard. So it makes it slipperier than some of the West Coast. So when the rain started, you had to think that with it already being slippery and it was raining just enough to make it's slick, but not like muddy, it was going to be a tough track. So I was, as soon as I showed up there, I got there right before first practice, and I'm sitting there and I'm talking to Roger and Cole. Didn't even realize he was like videoing over there. The first practice goes off. Like, I'm sitting there and like within like 3 minutes, I'm like, I don't even know how to explain this because I was so Cole, just showing the video, dude. I don't think they're gonna believe it. Just showing the video.
I got a predictor. Chase hole shots. Well, I don't know. The weather, I think he'll fall. Okay. I don't think he'll win even if he holds shots. I think he's going to fall. And I think it's going to be like, I don't see Eli winning either. I got Cooper or Ando tonight. I think Cooper.
I mean, I'm not going to say I'm a guru or whatnot. It's because of you guys. I sit here and I study. So I learn these things and I know kind of what to look for. So that's what we come here on the Rewind Show. And soon enough, y'all going to be able to see that stuff too. Like, that's why we do it here together. So let's get into the race. Let's continue on the race and let's see why I felt that way and why what happened. And we'll break it down right now. So I came on and I saw the track on Friday because I had to do some rehearsing for NBC. And the whoop section was a lot steeper. And I thought like, all right, that's going to be pretty good. Like, I wish they would have just came out the corner and did that. But I think they were predicting rain. So these guys would have some kind of like run into it. But then they chopped the whoops down and they actually had another whoop at the end. And what they did, which was going to be super tough, and then they cut it down, is that they had all the whoops the same size. So the last like few whoops, sometimes they'll roll them down so the guys can get into like a 90 degree. If they had like a 180, then that would make sense. But when they go in the 90s, it makes it difficult if you have the whoops super big all the way to the end because you can't stop. Like, it's kind of like what was going on in that sand section. The reason guys struggle over that is because they're trying to slow down for a corner and those things are gobbling them up like, you know, a gator pit. So they had that in the whoops, but they cut it down. So they made those quite a bit easier. And I think they cut it down for two reasons. One, because they didn't want another cat to end up in the stands like Matt Gorky back in the days, or like, you know, old school, my boy on the Kawasaki in San Diego, Mike Fisher running off the berm. They didn't want that happening. So they cut that one whoop out and then they thought it was going to rain. So they were like, look, man, people going to get jacked up. And another part was safety for us fans, not getting in the stands. But if they would have left it like that and it would have rained, that double out of there and then that triple would have been even more difficult. So you would have had issues there as well. But since they cut that down, the whoops end up becoming the main part of the race and where people was making up and losing a lot of times. Cooper had a big issue there, and then Chase obviously had an issue there, and a lot of guys. But it was weird. The track was like a super basic track, and in fact, it was the same layout technically as it was the last time they came to Tampa. Like, same back and forth. It was traditional football stadium, and they just had the sand section switched over. Sand section was going down the opposite where the finish line was. So basically the track was super basic, but the rain threw in a wrench that made it difficult. And when you were going down that whoop section, you had to come out that corner and jump the triple. And reason why those guys were like going down that outside, so you came out, jumped that triple going into the whoops, they all kind of went down the same line, is because they had that double and then the big triple, and you had to stay out wide. And as soon as it got slippery, you really had to kind of stay out wide to be able to hit that double and jump that triple. So it made that outside going down in the whoops super difficult, and they started getting 8 out. And that's when you saw guys going back and forth, because there was like, you had the hay bale, the tough blocks, and then you had like a line that wasn't kind of broken down. It was broken down, but not broken down. Then it V'd into the middle where the main line was, and then it kind of came back up to the other side towards the inside. And in reality, if those guys would have jumped that triple out of that corner and just stayed down the right side of the whoops, it would have been better. They would have had more traction because not a lot of people was going down there, but they would have had a hard time stopping for that corner and hitting that double. So everybody kept funneling back onto that side, which made it really chopped out and difficult because you slid into that rut, which what Chase did, or you had where you almost ran into hay bales, and some guys did. So it made the whoop section like difficult. So it was a good thing they knocked them down. It was military weekend, so all the bikes were different. You know, they were Chase was all black, yellow, and then it was hard to like pick out like bikes because Honda wasn't red like it was. So I'm calling the race, and initially like they're like Chase is Cooper and Chase is up at front, and I'm like, wait, Chase just got a bad jump like on there. He was in mid pack. And then I was watching him, and then when he called it, I was thinking maybe it was somebody else because I was like, it was a black bike. But then I realized Chase got a bad jump, and he snuck. He did the old JS move. You know, as soon as you get dropped off, and Chase did really good at doing this. Sometimes when you don't get the jump, you go to plan B. And any good racer, like, you can get a good start with getting a bad start. That makes sense. And Chase got a good start, even though he had a bad start. And sometimes when you get a bad jump, you initially go to what's the second defense? Like, how can I get up front really quick? And so a lot of guys that belong up front, they usually make this happen. Chase gets a bad jump, he gets cut off. He's in mid-pack, he breaks, and he sneaks around that inside because he knows, like, you got the guys coming from the outside and the guys charging to the inside, and they're trying to race each other to get to the first corner first. And usually when you get to these like 180s, everybody kind of pushes out. So if you can beat the guy, if you can be the first one on the inside and hit the brakes, even if you're in mid-pack, if you're the only one on the inside, you can really stop and sneak and gas and basically cut that corner in half, really. As those guys are pushing out, you're going straight to try to get to that white line and sneak around the inside. You can make up turn a bad start into a good start really quick, and that's what Chase did. And that shows you like where his mindset is, and he knew he wanted to be out front, and he did a great job at doing that. And you know, I've seen other guys do it. I've done it myself, but you got to instantly. You always think your first thing. I'm whole shot. Get off the jump, beat these guys, and be the first one in there. I'm dictating. But when that doesn't happen, when you start thinking about what these minds of these athletes and how they got to react like quickly. Like, as soon as he got off that gate, his whole mindset changed to another way to get to that first corner quick. And he shut it down and he went to the other one. And so it was cool to watch him like do that. So when he came out front, I was like, oh, Chase is out front. Eli was where he was. And then I'm thinking back to the practice thing. And I'm like, all right, I still never felt like it was going to be a long race. Cooper being in second for Chase, I think he would have been better off this weekend if Eli was in second, because Eli was just off. And I don't think Eli wanted anything to do with going super fast. When I watch Eli, and I'm going to switch gears a little bit, we'll just talk about him really quickly. When I watch him, it started from the practice, he looked off, and I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, he can do that because he just built equity last weekend. Like, now he has luxury of, like, he can be like Cooper Webb back in the day, like, well, whatever. When it comes to nighttime, I can get blown out by this dude. But y'all know what I do. I'm Eli. I just toe smacked y'all last weekend. So I felt like, well, maybe he just off and letting the thing. He knows it's going to rain, you know. And now that I think about it, it was almost like he was waiting for a mud race because he never really went for it all day long. His bike looked good. I was watching it. I was like, all right, maybe his bike's off. Nah, the bike looked good. You know, through the Dragon's bag, he still had them double Ds on there. Like, he looked good. And he just seemed off. And then the next one was when we asked him about the wins.
Victories, I don't feel like are weighing me down much. I would say overall titles are the ones that are very hard to just mentally overcome, period, right? That's where all the weight is. Or in my opinion, for myself in my career, the title itself, overall series, is where all the weight's at.
The way he answered it, it was just like, I don't want to think about the championship. Like, so his mindset, when I was listening to him, his mindset was already in big picture mode. Like, he was not thinking about, like, I'm here to win. No, I'm here, like, the championship. So when you only hear guys talk about like that when they're either off or they're in conservative mode and they're just like, look, I'm sitting here telling you I ain't here to win this race. I'm telling you that. I'm telling you that, like, look, I want to win. And not saying Eli didn't want to win, but Eli's first thought was like big picture mode. So that told me right there by listening to him that he was thinking about, look, I just want to come out of here with the points lead. Like, whatever happens, I'm not throwing it away here. So whatever was going on, he was just uncomfortable, and that's the way he looked. He just looked like he was just letting it happen. Like, he was waiting for the rain to come. Like, and it never really did. Like, he was like, look, they can go fast all day long, but it's going to rain.
It's going to rain.
And it's going to be about survival. And so I'm just going to ride and continue to ride just like I'm riding. And then if it starts raining, then these guys are going to have to change because they got to slow down to my pace. And that just never happened. And that's how he looked. Because he was behind Ken in the main event, and he just stayed there. The heat race, he was right there, and we went backwards. And last week, when you could say it wasn't the same as last week, well, he never got past last week. I mean, Chase passed him, but he never got past on anybody else. So he could say I was faster than everybody but Chase. This weekend, he wasn't. It just looked like when you start thinking about Eli, he told us in the opening ceremonies what he was going to do that night. He straight up told you details. So when he goes out there and race, and I look at Eli and his whole performance, I'm not surprised. He didn't do anything that like was surprising. Everybody's like, what happened to him? Did he go extraterrestrial? Did he have one of those moments back when he forgot how to ride the one time? Nope. I don't think anything's to worry about, really. He still has the red plate. I think last weekend when Chase blew his doors off in the heat race was more concerning to Eli than what just happened right now. What happened? All right, he's still leading the points. Chase was out front. He fell, and he got 5th. What happened on there? Like, nothing happened. Like, Eli didn't crash. Eli didn't crash like he did at Anaheim 2. Eli didn't get beat like he did like at Anaheim 2. And I said this last weekend. I felt like when Chase won that, if Chase was leading that race and Chase let Eli beat him in that main event, he would have been better off crashing or better off like getting like 5th on there than like just getting 2nd to Eli. So when I look at Eli, the fact that he didn't just get beat by Chase, he got beat by these other guys that he's been faster at all year long, just says like it was just an off night, right? Like it's just an off night. He ain't worried about like Chase didn't beat him and he's better than everybody else. He got beat by other people and Eli knows he's better than that. So he would have got beat by Anderson too. But Jason decided he wanted to go out there and send another tweet out.
Everybody grab your phones. I hope no tweet goes out after this one. Jesus.
I don't know. Yeah, he goes in and like he's like, I don't know. Like, I get it. Like, I feel like sometimes with Jason, it's like, I don't think he realizes how much of a threat for the title he really is. Like, for instance, like last year, I said this. He threw away his championship hopes by like getting into it with my brother. And not saying like Malcolm wasn't there for a championship, but where Eli was doing what he did, just like he did tonight, like at the race. Eli does not go in and do that stuff. And that's why Eli's, when he crashed at Anaheim, was so like, I don't think he's going to do that again on there. He got into the like moment, and the moment caused him to go hit the Maybells and stuff like that. So with Jason, him getting into it, my brother at Dallas, and then getting to it at Daytona, and then like the San Diego, and then this one, like Jason was so fast all day long. And there's a different type of speed. Yes, he was not the fastest in the practice, but he looked the best. And I'm sure his team thought he looked the best. In this heat race, he looked good. In the main event, he looked good. On there, he didn't have the fastest lap time, but I guarantee if you would have put him and Cooper up front, Coop, you're my boy, Jason would have beat you that night on there. Like Jason, his bike looked good. Adam rode good. Adam went down. Adam looked the most spunky as he had all year. It's just something about traction. But Cooper did something that Jason didn't. Cooper put himself in the situation, and that's why Cooper's a 2-time champion, and that's why Cooper is always there. And I feel like Jason sometimes has more speed than Cooper, and it's like he still races as he's not that guy. Like if he just didn't do what he did with the Barsha, he probably would have won that race on there. And that's the difference of like knowing, okay, I'm in it for the long haul, in the sense that like, I'm riding that good. And I feel like I can believe I don't have to pass it through right now. I'll eventually know if it takes me 5 minutes, it takes me 5 minutes. But I know I'm riding good enough. I'll beat these guys. And the guys in front of me, I think I can get them. Like Chase might have an issue. I'm faster than Cooper. Eli's off. So like to go in there and try to pass Barsha at that moment, it's like it's all or nothing. Like I got to make something happen like right now. And I think Jason is putting himself, and he lost the championship that way last year, and it's like he's doing it again, and he's a title threat. And I hate to say it, but guys who races for titles and guys who races for wins, they ride differently. Eli wouldn't have done that. Cooper wouldn't have done that on there. I mean, I don't even think Chase would have done it. But I don't think Jason realizes as good as he is on there. And I think that's just from experience. And I think that's from what's been happening these last few weeks is that like he gets third, but he's a distance third. So maybe his mindset's like, they're out front, I got to go on there. So I'm taking whoever out. And in reality, he didn't need to do that because he would have won that race. I strongly believe he would have won that race, even if it took him 10 minutes to pass Justin. He was riding that good. For instance, he got up to like, he was top 10 in like, he got 6th, but he was in the top 10 like quickly. Unfortunately for him, that race spread out. Those guys were like, got spread out real quick. And I said this on the show was that, you know, the one thing about having sand is that it does like, you'll see the guys up front, give them 2 laps, they'll be like 15 seconds in front of like 5th place on there. It's because everybody bottles up in that sand. And so a start was really important. And that's what Cooper did. Cooper sucked all day long. I actually thought Cooper like rode like pretty well that first practice, but then Cooper like he just sucked. Although he sucked, I picked him to win. And why did I pick him to win? Because he doesn't do things that what Jason did. And I felt like when that track broke down and when it became survival of the fittest, I felt like the Webb was going to get everybody stuck in his web and he was going to beat him down. So back to the lead, when Chase was out front, I saw it in 2 laps when Cooper was right there, and then Cooper started doing that double, and it was cool because they did it earlier, and then everybody stopped doing it, but they were going after the triple, after the whoops, land double, and going over table single instead of going roll and jump on, jump off. Cooper started doing that, and it was just a momentum thing, and I was like, oh, that's it. He was going to win, and it was just about the way the track broke down and Cooper being able to rise and adapt to the situation. And I feel like with Chase, he's learning that. And Cooper is one of the best at doing that. You can be it's not like Cooper all of a sudden goes faster. Cooper just gets better as the track breaks down. He adapts better than anybody I've seen in a long time. And that says something on there. And especially when you put him on the track, that's a gnarly track like Daytona or even this one, the track breaks down. Chase was faster than him. Shoot, a lot of people was faster than him. But Cooper rides the track differently. And when those guys are afraid to change because, like, look, I've been fast doing this line, Cooper's willing to do that. And so you watch him, and he started doubling out of that thing. And all it was doing, it was like continue his momentum. It was basically that stop and go. He stopped doing that. So as a slippery track, what do you want to do? Like, it's like, what do you do in a mud race? You shift up, right? Like you ride your bike in a tall gear. You don't want to stop and go. You're going to spin out. Same thing in the sand. You got to keep momentum going. So when Cooper started doubling those things, I could have cornered. He just kept his momentum going. So he didn't have to worry about going, like laying off that triple, losing the front end, like going in there, stopping, rolling, spinning up, going on that on-off, coming up short. Right before that Dragon's back, he was just going double, table over single, which would load him better in that on-off section. I mean, that Dragon's back. He would go through there, and Cooper just kept riding the track. And his line selection also was different than Chase as well. Like, Cooper was riding just right on the outside of that slick stuff. Any shiny spot, Cooper wasn't there. Cooper was in traction. So he just outraced Chase on there. And I feel like Chase was going to have issues, but Cooper was putting that pressure on him and just continuing to be there. And Chase said it after the race. Like he said, like, Cooper was part of the reason why he was trying to break him, and he knew. But mind control over Debo tells you that, like, he knew about Cooper. And I always said this, what others think of you is like how they race. People, what they think about you is how they race. I said this about Ken. They don't fear you. They're going to race you differently. The fact is, all the history that Cooper has put himself into allow him to rattle the fastest guy on a Supercross track and been the fastest guy the last few weeks. Think about that. Chase was 2 seconds faster than anyone last week. Faster than him this week on there. Cooper was battling about like 30 seconds back in the heat race. But yeah, history told Chase, damn it, that dude's here in second, and I don't know how he's going to do it, but he's going to do it. And that's the fact. Cooper, what people think of Cooper allowed him to dictate that race on there. And I told Cooper this, and I said here, and that's why I always go back to what others think about you, it turns into reality. And so when you put him in that situation, I think if Eli was behind Chase might not have fell. Like, I don't know, like he might have fell, but I don't think it would have been because of Eli on there. He might have just fell because he fell. But I believe Cooper dictating all that, and he was trying to break him. So that's just racecrafts, and that's why I said Cooper puts himself in a situation where, you know, Anderson beat him the last few weeks, but Cooper's what? How many points out of the lead on there? 4 points out of the lead, and Jason's 20. But Jason has beat Cooper the last 2 weekends on there, and been somebody I said, no, he was fast enough. He definitely won the race. That's the difference. So Jason, you know, my boy, El Hambre, I know you threatened to shoot everyone, and you might shoot me here. I ain't bagging on you. I'm just telling you that you're a lot better than you think you are. And like, again, those situations, like you got guys racing to win races and just like individual performances, and then a guy who's a threat for a title. You're a threat for the title, son. So all this hoopla, whatever, like that ain't you on there. You're at a different level, which is a good thing. So here we call it out because that's what I think, and that's what you should do. So I'm sure your team, I'm sure Rango told you that. I'm sure you might even know it. But, you know, it's tough being in that situation. So it ain't over. It definitely ain't over. You can still win this thing. But, yeah, you're putting yourself in a hole. And, yeah, guys are just riding around in front of you that are slower than you, and they got you. So don't shoot me. Please don't shoot me. There was a lot of talk about how it was people thought it was going to be Eli and Chase. And I kind of, like, didn't agree with that. Like, I agree, but I didn't, because I felt like Cooper has been riding good all year. He's gotten better. And I felt like when in the beginning of the season, I said, like, out of all the people, Eli, I wish it wouldn't be Cooper. And I said that because of like what Chase just figured out the other night. Just Cooper does stuff that just Cooper does. I don't even know, right? And the reason I said I didn't believe it was a 2-horse fight yet was because in outdoors, like, they were like 30 seconds faster than everybody else. Like, there was third place wasn't even close. Well, El Hambre, he was close at Houston. Like, he only finished a few seconds back from Eli winning the race. And the Supercross track wouldn't allow those guys to get that much faster than everybody else. And if the only thing that would change where it becomes a 2-horse fight, it would be because, like, Jason felt like what happened outdoors last year is happening in Supercross, where he couldn't he couldn't run with them. And I think it was one of our production meetings this week. Somebody brought up Jason when he's speaking on the podium, like he's happy, but it's almost like he was like he was not content with third, but like he was like, I don't really know. Like, it was. That's how Jason was, and that's how, like, it was explained to me. And I said, well, if you look at the outdoors, what Jason was when Eli and Chase was fast, Jason didn't have an answer. Like, he couldn't go that much faster. Just like Eli, he couldn't go that much faster than Chase last weekend in Houston. Something else was going to change. Well, Jason's not that far off, so he shouldn't feel like that. And if he does, it's going to be because past history makes him look at, like, yeah, what was happening outdoors is starting to happen. They've been 1-2, they've been faster, so it's going to go in that mode. So I didn't feel like he hit that ceiling point, and I didn't think Cooper did as well. Even though Cooper was having some rough finishes, it was still like he still had something. And the heat race, it was like, I think if Cooper wouldn't have got to start, and if you got to start like in the heat race, then you might have put him out of the championship. That's how, like, gnarly racing is, and mind control and all that stuff. I think if Cooper would have rode like he did in the heat race, and it could have been dictated off the start, he could have just got his bad start and finished. For instance, Cooper rode like Eli did, then I would say, all right, now it's up to El Hambre to really get this going. And, like, because it's really so fiddle between what we think and what's going on. And so Cooper got a good start. He won the race. And so I felt like it wasn't a 2-horse fight yet. And so let's see if Anderson rebounds, because I think what Cooper did this weekend, he would have to have a few off weekends before he felt like he was off, like he couldn't compete against this. I think this is so big for him that things are going to happen, like where he's just riding like he does in a heat race and just get blown out for a couple weeks. Then he might fall back like, okay, I can't beat him. That was just a one-off race. I don't think that's going to happen. But now I think even with Jason, the way he rode in that main event gives him confidence. So, and Chase doing what he did, and Eli showing that maybe I might be ready to retire every once in a while, might still give these guys hope. So we'll see. In Oakland, the next 2 races are going to be, it'll tell you who's going to be in it for the title. By the time we get to Daytona, you'll know if it's a 2-horse race or a 4-horse race or who's going to seize control of this title. I guarantee that. So the last 2 weekends in a whole has been the best thing for us fans. And I'm going to explain to you why. The fact it's still been Eli and Chase. They went 1-2 last weekend at Houston. Chase was still the fastest this weekend. Eli had an off weekend. So really nothing changed besides Cooper stepped up. But the fact that if Chase would have won that race in Houston, it would have showed like, okay, when he's on, we ain't going to beat him. We ain't going to beat him. There ain't nobody going to beat him. Even toe smacking, ET, he can't do it. The fact that Eli beat Chase last weekend showed not only Eli and Chase, it showed Jason and Cooper. I know for a fact, I ain't going to tell you how I know, but I know for a fact that they all looked at, okay, dude should have won that race. And the fact that he didn't win that race lets us know that we still get at him. So last weekend and then what happened this weekend, for us fans, it's like the perfect scenario. Because not only did Eli not win, he was in 5th. So you put him out and it was like, okay, he can still have those moments. And then Chase was out front and he went down. So, okay, it lets everybody else know, even when Cooper's in 5th place in the heat race, just way back or whatever, we can still win this race if we still compete. So it allows guys like Aaron Plessinger. I still think Aaron's going to win this year. Aaron's riding good, people. Aaron's riding good. And El Hombre, if Jason goes out and wins this weekend, oh, here we go. But it allows those guys to still believe it ain't a 2-horse race just like the outdoors last year. And that's what I said. I agree with them. Those are the 2 best guys. They're 1 and 2 in the points, but it ain't a 2-horse fight yet because of what those guys are doing to each other allows these other guys to be like, okay, well, we still here. So you'll know in a couple weeks what's happening. But overall, it's just awesome to see. It's awesome to see. When Cooper made that mistake in the whoop, everybody was like, it's over. Like, it was like the crowd was like, oh, you can hear it in the voice. Like, everybody was like, over. Like, I mean, shoot, everybody thought it was over. But, like, again, that's why we come here and we figure it out. Just like you watch practice, you're like, I think that guy's going to win on there. It ain't over because of who was in second. 99% of the time, pretty much everybody else on that racetrack, it would have been over. But not with that dude on there. And again, I think Chase, when he went through that rhythm section, hit that dragon's back, and was going to that sand, he saw the web still right there hanging on. He was by a little thread, and he full on blew that section in the sand section. He blew it. He was like, bleh, 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 like this dude's still here. Because sometimes as a racer, you know what's going on behind it. Thanks for the crowd. I don't even have to look back. I know what's happening. I could tell when a dude makes a mistake on there, and it's like, ooh. And a guy makes a mistake and crash. You're like, ooh. Like, it's different. So Chase knew he made a mistake, but he didn't crash on there. The crowd told him that. He didn't have to look back. But when he saw Cooper still hanging out there, he was like, he's still here. The sand. And then he ended up losing time. How the hell that happens? Well, because the web was back there. He didn't let you go off. So back to what Cooper makes a mistake and whoops. So if you look at Cooper's body, one, bike's going sideways, but his head's not like moving like crazy. Like it still looks like he has a good lock on there. Like from here up on there, like his body still seems connected on his motorcycle. So when he moves, it's like his whole body like moves. So he's still locked in on the bike. He can feel where it's at and he's holding on. And that's why when he does it, he actually looks pretty bad at doing it because his whole body moves on there and he ends up like going towards the hay bale, but he doesn't, the front end doesn't dance away. He doesn't lose the feeling of the motorcycle. So it allows him to stay connected to it and just use strength on like stopping that. So all Cooper has to do is like stay connected to his bike, and as it's swapping, be able to hit the brakes and like stop the thing. When you watch Chase gets in there, okay, boom, right here. See now, okay, now his body's starting to move, right? Look at him. All right. When you watch Cooper, he's head on. When the bike moves, Cooper's moving with it, right? Like he's still connected. His legs aren't this way. His body is head. He's still centered over his bike. Even though you can read his side number plate, Cooper's still like doing this with the motorcycle. When Chase does it, it's like all of a sudden things start doing this right? Like the bike starts moving, his arms start moving, things, his body's not in line with the motorcycle. And that's why I say, when you go, there he is. Again, he didn't have a gnarlier swap than Cooper at all. And it's like the thing when I say the gripping and he's not connected with his motorcycle, and why I said just the way the track is, when you get those slippery tracks and things happen real quick, like he doesn't have enough time to save it, because when things happen real quick, he's on the ground like fast. And I think that's where I go back to, like, there's still things fundamentally, like how good he is and what makes him good in sections, a lot of sections, like how he moves through things on rhythm section and goes through, because the way he rides also hurts him in this type of situation. Him being free and using his legs and allowing the bike to, like in rhythm section, Chase can actually move through jumps quicker. So if he's going through, it's almost like he's not locked in on his bike, so the bike can move up and he won't. So it allows him to go through instead of his whole body and G-forces. He uses his legs to kind of almost as a suspension, almost soaking it up, so he can go through things a lot quicker. But then when you get in these situations and you got to be able to, like, feel the bike, because all this is like feeling the motorcycle. Like saving it is like, how good of a feel do you have before you're like, damn it, next position is safest position to get in, like that dude we did in the arena crowd. See, it hit a point where he knew, like, I can't do nothing on there. I got to figure out plan B, just what Chase did off the gate. Plan A wasn't working. You ain't going to get in the whole shot. I got to go to plan B. It's like in this situation, he has no plan B on there. Like once plan A gets gone, he's like, well, I don't know. And it's hard to ride like that. And when I worked with Chase, we went through all this stuff. And it was a position where he's like, damn, I don't know why I fall. And so I was like, all right, let's figure it out. I'm like, dude, like, you ever notice when you fall, like, you just either you're up and then you're down quick. Like, and you're like still hanging on to the handlebars. Again, I'm not knocking Chase, because he has one of the coolest styles out of everybody. And what makes him fast is like in being able to be the way he rides, makes him fast in rhythm sections. But at the same time, like, you put yourself in this situation, this is what happens. And that's why I think, as Ricky said in the broadcast, some people, when you watch them, you just always like, damn, you just never know. And when you, with him, like, you be like, he's one of the smoothest guys on the racetrack. One of the most styles that, look, he does it easy. So how is it that you watch him and then you're waiting for him to fall? How is that possible? Let's see. He's the smoothest one. He's the one that makes it look the easiest. And he's going the fastest, but he don't look like he's trying, like, on there. Why do we watch him and we're like, damn, he could fall at any point? That's why.
But look at Cooper behind. So does the same thing that you were just talking about, keeps his body, but does something change with him once he starts seeing Chase go down? Like, look, he swaps right there.
Yeah.
But his body's still connected, like you've been saying.
No. So good point, Cole. So you go back and when you're watching Chase fall, you look right behind him, watch what Cooper does. Cooper does the same thing. There's a reason why that happens, because Cooper is watching Chase fall on there. Cooper forgets what he's doing on there. And that's why you ever see a guy, or if a guy in front of him makes a mistake, sometimes a guy right behind him make the same exact mistake on there, because you get caught watching the guy in front of him. That's why that sand section was so hard. It wasn't that like it was like they can't ride sand. If they were close to somebody, usually when people made mistakes, it's like when somebody else was next to them or close, they were watching them because they got to watch what he's about to do. So Cooper does exactly what Chase does, except for when Cooper like does all this stuff. Like Cooper, back when I was saying staying connected to his bike, because Cooper got pretty out of control behind him, like exactly like Chase. But Cooper's better in those situations and he's able to save it. The only reason he did that is because he was watching dude in front of him like do it, and you just get caught looking and you'll do the same thing. But it was just, and part of it, like the dude's flip-flopping over here. You don't know where the hell that bike's going to go. So Cooper's also starting to I got a break. Like, I don't know what to do. And as I say, it's hard to stop and whoops. But yeah. And then the race, when you watch Chase, his front end goes like on there. And that's also a no-no too. It's the one thing, being connected with your motorcycle. Like, you know, you steer your bike. People think you steer with your, you know, with the handlebars on there, and you do, but it really comes down to your core and your legs and stuff, how you stay connected, because you can turn the bars and like lock your body and have the bike like push like a shopping cart. Like you can turn the wheel and the bike still goes straight. Like if you're driving the car and you try to turn on ice, turn like this and things still slides forward. Well, that's kind of what happens like with Chase. So when he loses the front end on there, like if he's not connected to the body, then what happens? Like now I'm just holding on here. So wherever the front end goes, that's where I'm going on there. Instead of like being locked in, when you lose the front end, if you're kind of locked in on your bike, you can like use the rest of your body to muscle that thing back. And that's where Chase is always like, sometimes when you watch him fall, like he's like one of those toys when you buy toy motorcycles, like little ones with a little man on top. Like his feet will go flying, but his hands be locked on the handlebars because the way they got a grip. Well, sometimes that's how Chase falls. He falls and he's still like on the bike, and he like, it's like, what the hell just happened? Like, you just got knocked the hell out. Bam! That's what happened. And so, again, we breaking it down because that was an emphasis on the point. And again, as we all say, you're watching somebody as good as he is, and you're just like, damn, it ain't never over. It ain't never over. It ain't never over. I just feel like I'm watching them. It ain't me saying it, people. I'm just breaking it down for you. But y'all feel the same way. And we, you know, for Chase and all that, and with Ricky, and we had talked about and not turning one mistake into 2, 3, 4. Well, it's hard to turn something in there like when there's an issue, son. Like the same thing that we talked about back in the day. You're going to have this happen to you until you figure it out. Like, that's it. So you're always going to be watching until waiting for them to crash, because that's something you got to figure out. And I don't even know if you can. Like, maybe you can't. But there's a reason why everything happens, and that's what we do here. We try to break it down. But so you got Cooper Webb on there. And Cooper has been off the last couple weeks, right? Cooper started off strong. You know, everybody kind of wrote him off. Like last year, he's falling over like a wet noodle. He ain't never been fast, so if he was struggling like last year, he's back with Eldon. But still, people didn't believe in the Cooper. And not only did I believe in the Coop, I believed in the KTM team. And I knew at 3 laps, I'm like, them boys been working. They worked. So the bike looked better, Plessinger looked better, and I was like, damn, like, Coop, you look fine. And it was taking in those first 2 races to build that momentum. And then he went off, right? He went off. He wasn't on the podium. Like 4th, 5th, whatever, just back. And then you just felt like people were like, oh, there's the Coop. And then he goes and has the performance like he did in the heat race, just back doing what wet noodle stuff does. Just back there, just limped over, doing nothing. But then it counted. And then that track started breaking down and things start changing. It's like the movie producer in the middle of the movie says, you know what, hold up. Remix. Cooper's like a remix. You're just like, oh, this tune's all right. And I was like, it flips. And then when it flips, you get this dude on there. And no matter what everybody else is doing, Eli didn't want none of that. Eli was like, yeah, I'm back here, dude. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just back here. Big picture. And Chase was like, cool. And look back, damn, that number 2's back there. And with that number 2, he's 2-time champion. And he knows how to do it. And when everybody thinks he's out, and no matter how fast or far he's back, Cooper Webb is always going to be ready for one thing. And what he wants in his thing he's going to get, he dictates it like mind control over Depot. And Depot says he wants a what? Call, hit him with it.
Suntan, neck's on fire.
Neck burn! Cooper Webb See, I almost said somebody else's name. Why? Because damn, it's been that long since I said that. Actually, might have been the first time on the show we ever said that name. That's why it didn't sound right. But we knew it was coming. Well, I knew it was coming. Cooper. They scared, dog. They scared. Debo's back. Chase be like, I got mind control over Debo. When he leave, he be like, shut up. I be quiet. But when he leave, I be talking again. And that's what they is. They be talking. They don't want the Webb factory. Cooper, glad to see you back. And for us fans, whoop, whoop, the Webb factory's back. He hit him with it. He get caught in the web. Bam! Bam! Just, I don't even know why that came out. He wasn't ready for it, but I just have to do it. So it was good. Real quick, 250 class, Nate thrashing, whole shot it, sitting in the thrashing out on everybody, and then damn, Hunter was hunting them down on there. Hunter got a little crazy for a minute. He was like, when he started running in on whatever the dude's name, Bozeman, I almost feel like that might come back and bite you. I don't know. Just predict the future, past history would say, he might be one of those ones, them dudes on them gas. I don't know if you want to be messing with them. They're crazy too. But Hunter kept hunting down, and then he was like, yeah, woo, he came in there. It was clean pass too. Like he ran in there, a little bike control, whatever, slid in there. And then it was funny because the guy was like, are you Tampa? Come on, people from Florida. Bro, we got to wake up. We got to wake up, man. We got to show these people. They ain't never going to come back to this state. Y'all keep showing up like this. They were like, did you like that? We was like, it's like when they were stuck in the bubble in the NBA. They're going to start putting crowd noise in there. It was like, damn, we Florida. It's like past 9 o'clock. You know, we got a bunch of old people and young people. We falling asleep early before 9 o'clock. Because they said, what up? Y'all happy? And it was like, damn, I guess there ain't no crowd here. So Florida, step it up. Boys showed up. But anyways, Hunter hunted him down. Nate was sending the thrashing until he got thrashed on, and that was it. That was cool. But even Jordan Smith, kids riding good. Just don't fall over. You'll win one. You're fast enough. Deegan, Hayden, you stepped it up this weekend. Your boy's proud of you on there. I said you wasn't ready, but you just needed time. And the time's starting to come back up. You starting to look like you belong, like which I always knew you would. Just give it time. So it was cool to see Danger Boy feeling a little dangerous. So it's good about that. But, you know, Hunter, he's kind of doing his own thing. He's just in there. He had to. Jet was up there. They had him like, I thought we were looking at a actor or something. I was like, damn, is that like Denzel Washington up there? They keep showing him on damn like TV screen. Even though they kept showing me on TV screen talking about Bubba's World. But for real, when you got superstars in there like Jet up in there. So Hunter was like, look, man, I can't come up here and win this race, and my brother get more press than I do. Well, he went out there and showed him what's up. But Tampa crowd, wake up, people. They ain't never coming back here if y'all keep doing that. Anyways, y'all know what time it is. My favorite time, your favorite time. Hell, a few of us' favorite time. No, it'll be a Cooper's favorite time. Stu and Stu. But we'll be right back. What's up, guys? It's your boy James Stewart. You see this shirt I got on? Now, I know we all a family. We all be coming out here. Everybody wants to be a part of Bubba's World. I want to be a part of it. But if you want to, make sure you click on this link because you can get this shirt. At least you can get this far. We got a bunch of things coming in the future, some exciting things. And I know you send in your videos. Maybe you can end up on the show that way. But if not, always make sure you get this pretty shirt, black and white, and some more coming soon. Click this link right here. Go get yours. I want to say this. You actually had the podium in both classes. they were actually the same exact emotions out of first, second, and third. Same. So you had Cooper Webb, and then you had Hunter, right? Just kept fighting, just fight to the end, and you got him. But you had Chase Sexton and Nate Thrasher. I probably should have won the race because Nate, like Hunter didn't like get in second and just run dude down on there. He stayed like that. Then Nate started getting caught up in lappers, started making mistakes. Nate lost the race. Hunter came up, took the race, but Nate lost the race because he started making a mistake. Hunter go, bam. So maybe not. Maybe just like Cooper. He made it happen because he was back there, whatever. But you saw that podium face between Chase and Nate. They were the same. Just like confused, like, damn, I should have won that. And then you got third place. You got Max Anstie. I'm telling you, people, it's just like the greatest time in the world
to come away with a podium against these guys in front of these crowds. And today is my first time for my little guy. His name's Finn. He's only 10 months old. This is his first race, and I told him before I came here I was going to get him a trophy to put him in his room, and he's down there, and it's an awesome feeling.
Like I'm telling you, he's like a kid. First time he goes to Disney every day of his life. It's the first time he goes to Disney, and he got walk in there, got a popcorn and a candy cane, or candy, cotton candy, whatever you want to call it. Dude, just happy. You can't end this world. Don't matter what he does. That boy happy. Who is else? Aaron Plessinger? He just happy.
I'm pumped to be up here. I'm looking forward to next weekend, and yeah, woo!
On there, you're just happy, and both those guys can win. They actually look pretty good and win, but they just happy, and they had two of the same performance. Third place is way back, but damn, the boys are happy. So you had first, just owning it. Second, confused as hell. And third was just happy as hell. That's what it was. So I just want to say that. Podiums in both. Same possession. All right, people. You know what time it is. My favorite time, your favorite time. Stewed and Stews. All right, first, you know what we do. It's like a routine. I'm not even going to say we're just going to get into it because it's like a routine. You got to start with the people who did it best, better than the rest. Not a default, Stu, because these boys this weekend, they ain't defaults. They earned these victories. One earned it with mind control, and the other one just like, you know what? Never fight. I'm going to hunt you down, and you know I'm coming. Whatever. Just know it's going to happen. Thrashing, don't matter how much I get thrashed, I'm just going to hunt you down and do what I do. So the first two, in a big stew, and actually the first one they've ever got on this show, is Mr. Cooper Webb. You know you're a stew, bro. Like, you know you're a stew. Like, not because some people are stews because, like, they just do it better than everyone else. Like, they're just faster. They jump stuff. They hit the whoops faster. They look like it. Nah, Cooper, sometimes you don't look like that. Sometimes you don't look like that. It's like you're just there on there. And that just makes you special because it's just like a life of box of chocolates. You just never know what you're going to get. It's Forrest Gump. Then you realize he's a billionaire. He's sitting on the bench waiting for the bus. That's Cooper Webb. I don't know where that reference came from. It just came from my head. Cooper is just there. He is a stew. And then you got Hunter Lawrence. Now, Hunter, like today, this weekend, you showed up. Like first weekend, you were a little off in practice. Then you showed up in the race. This weekend, you came out flexing on these dudes. You knew you had to be faster in practice. And you're fast in practice. You had the heat race. But then, like, you start having some moments. You start running into dudes and stuff like that. Like it was Styles. It ain't Styles, people. They ain't Styles, Hunter. And then you calm down, then you slowly went up there, but Nate was gone. Then you passed Max, and Max was like, hey, you want a Coke? Here it is. I got some cotton candy. I'm at Disney, just having a good time. And then you just kept fighting, and then you fought to the end, and you got it done. And I know the crowd wasn't there for you, but you are a stew in here because you won, and you did it better. And I didn't even give you a neck burn for that one, but here's a neck burn here for Cole.
Suntan, next on fire.
Next on fire, Super Stew, Hunter. 2 in a row. Let's see if you continue. Actually, you off this weekend, so you get to live on that for another weekend because you got to go back to round 2. Round 5, round 6, to going back to round 2. Math's off. T-shirt should have wore it today, but didn't. And so you're a stew. And then I'm going to say everybody else, the fans and the production team, because they let your boy up on 2. Maybe I give myself a stew. Maybe not. I could have done better, could have done worse, but I did it as best as I could. So y'all fans, y'all stew for letting me to be up on there. Calling your boy to be on there. I'm going to have to cut my hair, though, probably. Because, why? I don't know. Just do something. Sometimes you just got to do something. And I don't really know what that meant. But thank you, fans. Seriously. Again, Bondo, all you guys, NBC Fel, thank you for allowing me. Y'all stews. And even Dirtworks for doing what you thought you needed to do for the track and giving these boys some show. Even though, why do y'all keep putting that damn sand in Florida? I didn't even break down the sand section, why them boys kept struggling. But that was the only thing you could have done because the track was pretty basic on that. But anyways, you're Stu. So, Hunter Lawrence, the Coop. Just never know what you're going to get. Cooper Webb, Super Stu, and you guys. Now, Stu, pissed off. Pissed off because you're out front leading and then you're not leading anymore. Pissed off because you would go in the last corner leading and then you're not leading anymore. Pissed off because like you just got bumped off and this dude starts like west side, east side on you. Pissed off. Stu. But I got a problem, people. I mean, those are too obvious, right? Like, of course, if you're out front, you fall, you Stu. Like, you're gonna be pissed off, right? So I don't even want to put that on list because that just doesn't make sense to me. That's just obvious. I don't like doing obvious stewed, even though I've probably done some in the past. So I'm having a hard time trying to put people on lists. There's a lot of confused. That's what I should put on there. I don't know how we can do it, but it's going to be remixed today like Cooper Webb. We're going to remix this thing. People who are confused. And this one goes to Chase Sexton. Now, you go down. Let me back up a little bit. You're fast. Then you're still fast. And then you dominate and you're still fast. And then you see not number one, but number two behind you. But this dude hasn't been fast all day. And then you look back and he's still there. And you're starting to get confused because you're like, wait, hold up. Wait a minute. Why is this dude catching me? And then you're like, huh, man, he's still there. I'm trying to break him. I'm breaking, confused. You're not mad. You're just confused and you just know what's about to happen. And then you, bam, you hit the ground. And then it's like you get up and you get on the podium. Just like last weekend, you're confused. Like, what did I just do? I know I keep saying I ain't going to do it no more, but I keep doing it. And that, to me, is confused on there. So that's what you are, confused. And then you have Max Anstie. He confused. Why? Because this ain't Disney World. And he keeps podium. And he's like, bro, just happy to be here. Like, I can't believe these little minions out here. I keep racing against a guy who probably was born before he was even born. Like, what? Confused. That didn't even make no sense. Max Anstie just happy. It's like, shit, we in Disney World. I did say shit right now. I did. So that's confusing too. This whole section is confusing. So, Max Anstie, why are you confused? Because sometimes I'm confused that, like, when I'll be watching you, I'm like, bruh, I just went from a bad mood to a good mood, and I don't even know why I'm in a good mood because I was just in a bad mood and just got me confused. Why? Because Max is talking, and I just feel better when I listen to him. I don't even know what the hell I'm listening to, but I'm listening on there. And then you got Nate Thrashin. You're just like, dude, I get it. He was not there, and then he was there. And the next thing I know, I get passed on the last lap in the last corner, and he didn't even touch me. And I'm confused whether I should go outside or inside. So I go down the middle, and then I lose, and then I'm replaying the race, and I'm like, why did you do that? It's confusing. So it's confused. You're confused. So Max Anstie, confused. Chase Sexton, confused. You're walking the woods like, damn, how do I fix this? Because I'm confused. I don't even know how I fell. I just fell. And Nate Thrashin, you were gone, and then you wasn't, and you won everything, then you didn't win. I'm confusing. Dude didn't even touch me. I ran off the track. Didn't even touch me. Confused. So, all right, people, that was it. I know it was a stewed and confusing section. But, again, hopefully the rest of this video makes more sense than this. Otherwise, it's going to be a confusing show today. And that was round 5, 6 on the calendar. And next week, we're going to round 2, which is confusing. But we know we're going Oakland, where again, we just had the Pandora box open up. So let's see. They go to Oaktown, where's some west side, east side. Let's see if El Hombre finally finds his bullets and he can shoot all y'all out there. My point intended. Get back on the box and do it. Jason, you're better than what you're doing. Race to, whatever. Confusing. So we're going to go to Oakland next weekend. And then right now, but it's on the web train. Let's see if Eli finds his way back to the top step. Let's see if Chase finds his way to the top step. He's so close, but he's not. But we'll see. but we're all going to find out next week at round 2. But this was round 5 or round 6 in Tampa. And yes, you're right. It is confusing. Until then, I'll see you when I see you. Thanks, people.